Hi, everyone. I'm May from Writer, an AI writing platform for teams, and we're doing a bunch of tutorial videos for the Superpath community. Excited to dive. Well, I'm excited to chat with you, Jimmy, about press releases. So this is another type of template that we see a lot, especially for comms teams of one or comms teams of none.
Yeah.
It can absolutely take sometimes like a week to get something back from your agency when like you just need a draft to get in front of people to like start getting comments and start sharing something. And we saw this with our customers over at Adore.me, super innovative folks. They just literally hated writing press releases. And they were doing them a few times a quarter, so not like a few times a week, but instead of taking a day to feel really good about a draft, like they were literally getting something out in minutes that people can then start responding to. So it definitely made a big difference. So I thought it'd be fun for us to do a press release on them getting B Corp certification, which is super fun, and they actually just got B Corp certification like a month ago. So a lot of people ask us like, how up to date is the underlying data? And we should definitely do a video just on data. Like we haven't trained on like your company strategy or like what is going to happen.
Right.
So we actually have no training data that tells us that like Adore.me is B Corp certified. And so it'll be exciting to see kind of what they talk about. So what comes out of Writer. So type of press release, them getting B Corp certification, I would call that kind of closer to a product announcement than any of the other options there. And who should be mentioned? Let's mention Ranjan Roy, who is VP of strategy. He's like the right hand of the CEO there, VP of strategy. And then let's put in the CEO also. I actually don't know their name, so I'm just going to literally write CEO. So let's see what happens. And what Adore.me achieves B Corp status. And then facts, notes, sustainability. So this is our big things about sustainability. Sustainability in e-commerce is important. And this is my stat that I definitely want to make sure goes in there. Let's say, 54% of Gen Z say they no longer buy, they no longer support non-sustainable brands. Non-sustainable brands. Okay. About my company's description, I'm just going to use the Adore.me about us from their website.
Got it. So like in that field, you could leave one sentence or 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just like what you're going to have be kind of showing up in any press release. Can't find it right now. I'll just say Adore.me is the world's leading sustainable e-commerce brand. XXXXX, and you'll see how that's actually just a straight XXX. All right, let's see. So I spent, a minute on like what I really want to be in the press release, and then really let Writer go with the rest.
Yeah, that's so cool. The quotes, like as it pulls those quotes, is it pulling those quotes from a source that it found, or is it saying like this is something that Ranjan Roy might say? Now we can go like verify that he feels comfortable with that quote.
Yeah, absolutely. And what the team told us is they actually have on multiple occasions gotten Writer quotes approved without their CEO changing anything.
That's so interesting. That's so cool. It's so much easier to do it that way.
Yeah. And you'll notice actually because my context or my about was just so flimsy, Writer actually wrote one.
Oh, right, and it knows. It knows the brand. It understands the products that it sells.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. And so, yeah, something that, would have taken a day almost of just somebody like thinking about it, writing it, having writer's block for a while, coming back to it, like literally as fast as I can spin up a GDoc. Like if I've got the right inputs, right, I have a first draft that I can now work from. So just hugely accelerating. And we talk a lot about like 10x productivity of individuals and then 10x impact of a team. And so when you can like reduce the like time to a first draft, it really just accelerates so much of our marketing workflows.
Yeah. Quick question. This is fascinating. The quick question about, there's a paragraph that says, to achieve B Corp status, a company must score 80 out of 200 points. Adore Me scored 96.5. So that's like, it went and found that from, like, is that their actual score? Like it found it from some source?
Yeah, great question. So we have a feature coming out called claims detection that will actually highlight this to make sure that nobody forgets to fact check it.
Great. So that's a great call.
Any fact that comes out in 2 weeks, any fact that is not in the inputs that comes out in the output, we want to highlight to make sure that people are checking. Now, we will automatically check to make sure it's right. So there are, beautiful kind of fact checking tools from Google that are open source. So we have like built that into Writer. But the goal really is that it's really the person, the human, making sure that everything that they need is in here. Now you'll see that actually like the quote I put in, the context, it really confused Writer. It actually put it at the top because it had no idea where to put it. And so that tells me that like actually like in press releases like this about B Corp status, people aren't really spending time talking about like their point of view on the market and the reasons why they pursued it, right? Like this is very much a sustainability thing versus a B Corp. And so I can see why, because I've got a lot of experience now with Writer, like why it confused Writer. And so I would put that, I would remove that, of course, and put that somewhere else that, felt more in line with the narrative.
Right. But I guess the easy thing is like, you notice it, you fix it, or you add a different type of input, generate again, like I find that iterative process to be pretty fascinating because oftentimes like the job of the writer is synthesizing the thoughts and putting them in the right order. You know what I mean? And that actually can be quite time consuming. And so like when you can go through it this way, like you can get so far down the road before then the person has to come in and make the kind of final refinements and polish it up.
Right. And that's true. And it's not true for all content forms, right? Like a blog post with SEO strategy in mind, right? We're actually following a different thought process and workflow in terms of how to structure it. And so the beauty of Writer is that it really is built for the content marketing team and professional. And like what we ask for and how the inputs and outputs are structured very much is it comes out of what we know and what we have learned together with our customers about those content workflows. So that's a big differentiator versus other products where every content type, actually, you're expected to follow the same input-output type of workflow. And it's subtle, but it's the difference between your team actually being able to get true value from AI and it just being kind of a nice tool that individuals sometimes get benefit from. But we're really trying to build a 10x improvement for the impact of the team as a whole.
Yeah, super interesting. But does that also mean that as more teams use Writer to create press releases, Writer gets better at writing press releases because it gets practice doing it?
Yep, absolutely. And so, of course, with the permission of the customer, like this is not stuff that feeds into our underlying models, and we actually don't keep the finished press releases. We've got like very robust B2B enterprise features. And so the customers have to give us the content that they have produced with Writer. And then we go through the same tuning process that we do at the outset to further fine tune it. So the more people that are using it, the faster that data adds up. But we don't take anyone's data to train our foundational models, and it does not train anybody. As a result, it does not benefit any other customers. So
got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Security first. Yep.
Got it. Makes sense. Cool. Super interesting. Really cool. This is a really cool example. And actually the next one we're going to talk about, I am particularly interested in as someone who has worked in both content marketing and sales. And so we're going to talk about how to summarize things like blog posts and case studies to make them more useful to a sales team, which I find to be fascinating because that's the sales marketing connection is often not as strong as we would like it to be. So why don't we, we'll dive into that one and we'll get to see it in depth and we'll see you there.
Cool.
Okay, cool. There you go. Thank you so much, May, and your team over at Rytr for being such a great partner to us at Superpath. You're building an awesome product. We really appreciate you spending time to help us get up and running with it. And frankly, your support is what helps us keep this community free. So we really are grateful for that. For those watching, if you do want to learn more and give Rytr a try, go to rytr.com. There's a couple of different plans you can choose from. There's also a free tier if you just want to kick the tires. So rytr.com, thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much to the team at Rytr for your support.